Today we're going to talk about mutable variables in Rust. As you know, there are two types of variables in Rust. You have mutable and immutable variables. As the name implies, immutable variables are those variables that pretty much the value associated with a variable name cannot be changed. And here's an example. So let's say that we have a variable a, which is immutable. If we assign a value like food and then we try to change the value for something else like bar, then we get an error. So we know for sure that this is one of the features that come with the programming language. Sorry, I got a typo here. With Rust. So Rust is supposed to guarantee a reliable programming language, and that's why here we get this error, cannot assign twice to immutable variable a. So in order to modify a, we need to make this variable mutable. And the way we do it is by using the keyword mute for mutable, M-U-T. So here we can mutate the variable, we can add a new variable to it, and so we can change its value. But here I'm getting an error. It says, oh well, actually it's working. I'm just getting a warning because the variable is not being used. So let's just print out this value using the println function or macro. So we just print out a like this. All right. So we see bar being printed out here. We don't care about these warnings. This is actually, but let's just clarify why we're getting these warnings. It's pretty much because the compiler is really smart. The compiler knows that we are creating this variable a mutable, but then we're just changing the variables right away, which we could have done here instead, since we're not using the variable anywhere else. So here you see that we don't get a warning anymore because it's implemented the right way. Okay, but let's say that another way to remove the warning is also using the variable and then probably printing out the variable again and something like this. So we declare the variable, it's mutable, we use it, we read its initial value, and then we just change its value for bar, and then we print it out. So here we shouldn't get any error as long as we use semicolons. We don't need it here for the last one. You see that it runs for the last line. It's not required, but we add it anyways, obviously. But here you see it works, and that's perfect. We will get the same error or warning if we just don't do anything with this variable that we're changing its value. You see that here we get the warning again, but even though it works. So perfect. So we know now that we can create mutable and immutable variables, and we understand their usage. Also, there's another concept that I'm going to be talking about, and it's about borrowing. This is a very important concept we need to learn if we really want to become really good at programming in Rust. And I'm going to be talking about that in the next video. So here is another example. Let's create not a string, but instead let's just use a vector, which is a very useful collection in Rust. You're probably going to use it a lot. So here we're just creating a immutable vector. If we try to push a new item into it, you'll see that pretty much it's gonna fail. It's gonna say cannot borrow a as mutable, as it is not declared as mutable. In order to do that, we need to declare a as mutable, and then we just can run it now, and you'll see that if we print out the vector a, an easy way to print everything contained in the vector is using this interpolation, and then we just add the variable here. So you see that we have 1, 2, 3, and then 4. We added 4 here. All right. So now we know the power of declaring a variable as mutable. And also we got introduced to the concept of borrowing. We saw it in the previous error. So I'm going to explain a little bit what it is and why it's really important that you understand it in Rust.